Star Wars shocker, Ryan Gosling in talks to star in Shawn Levy's movie. Ryan Gosling is headed to the great galaxy far, far away. The three-time Oscar nominee is in negotiations to top-line the Star Wars feature project that will be directed by Deadpool and Wolverine filmmaker Shawn Levy. Details on any Star Wars project are harder to acquire than plans for an orbital planet killer, and this one is no exception. Levy has been developing his Star Wars feature since 2022, and Jonathan Tropper, who collaborated with Levy on films such as This Is Where I Leave You and The Adam Project, has been working on a script for over a year. Levy is also producing the feature via his 21 Laps banner, joining Star Wars stewards Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm. It is unclear when Levy's project is set. Star Wars stories have run the gamut of hundreds of years, detailing the goings-on of a galactic republic-turned-dictatorship-turned-rebellion. It's also unclear if it concerns Jedis and their enemies, the Sith. It is, however, to be unconnected to the so-called Skywalker saga. The stories centered on well-established and beloved characters Luke Skywalker and his father, Anakin. It is meant to be a standalone movie, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. Lucasfilm had no comment on any impending deal or the project's details. Sources say the Gosling development is a late-in-the-game move for Levy's movie schedule. The filmmaker was eyeing to direct a boy band movie set up at Paramount, which would have reunited him with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. But Gosling's interest and involvement suddenly shifted the Star Wars project into hyperspace. If a deal makes, the project would continue to fly like the Millennium Falcon, becoming not only Levy's next movie but also the next Star Wars movie to go into production, with cameras potentially rolling this fall. The Mandalorian and Grogu wrapped in mid-December and will be released on May 22, 2026. Gosling's boarding will mark a rare occasion that a Star Wars feature brings aboard an actual A-lister. The original trilogy featured up-and-comers and British veterans, turning actors Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher into household names. The prequels followed a similar model, although The Phantom Menace did bring on Liam Neeson to buttress the ranks following his Oscar nomination for Schindler's List. The Disney era saw J.J. Abrams also introduce a crop of rising talent, even as it brought back the original stars. In a bit of synchronicity, Gosling was name-checked for a Star Wars part back in 2013 when rumors spread online that he and Zac Efron were being eyed by Abrams for a familial part that may have eventually become Kylo Ren. The actor, last seen starring in Universal's Fall Guy, is repped by CAA and Sloan Offer. He recently rapped on Project Hail Mary, another spacefaring movie, which hails from Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Several Star Wars movies that you probably thought were scrapped, including from Taika Waititi and Shawn Levy, are still in development. Barbie star Ryan Gosling is reportedly in talks to lead the cast of Deadpool and Wolverine director Shawn Levy's new Star Wars project. If confirmed, Gosling would be the untitled movie's first official cast member. Per The Hollywood Reporter, Levy's Star Wars project has been in development since 2022, with frequent collaborator Jonathan Tropper penning the script. Gosling, of course, shot to stardom with the 2004 rom-dram The Notebook and much more recently dazzled as Ken in Barbie, which earned him a nod for Best Supporting Actor at the Academy Awards. Despite these key details, there isn't a whole lot else that we know about the flick, which isn't surprising as Disney has historically been tight-lipped about internal Star Wars projects. THR does report that Levy's adaptation won't be connected to the Skywalker saga that centers around legacy characters like Luke and Anakin Skywalker. It's also reportedly a standalone movie. Other than those deets, we're pretty much in the dark for now. Thankfully, Levy's movie is far from the only Star Wars project happening right now, and surprise, surprise, we actually know a fair deal about some of them, including The Mandalorian and Grogu. For more on everything in development in the galaxy far, far away, do be sure to check out our guide to upcoming Star Wars movies. Planning on sitting down for an intergalactic binge? Here's how to watch all of the Star Wars movies in order, and in case you just need a quick refresher, let me point you to our guide on the Star Wars timeline. Ryan Gosling may star in Shawn Levy's Star Wars film. Lucasfilm has announced a metric ton of different Star Wars movie projects ever since the Rise of Skywalker hit theaters over 5 years ago now. Only The Mandalorian and Grogu has actually gone into production of those many announced films. One of those potentials was to be produced by Deadpool and Wolverine director Shawn Levy. We hadn't heard much about it, until now. Via The Hollywood Reporter, we've learned Lucasfilm is fast-tracking Levy's Star Wars to go into production soon. Not only that, they are circling Ryan Gosling as the lead. Maybe all those Ken as a Jedi cosplays we saw last summer were actually onto something. As for what this Star Wars movie will be about, we honestly have no idea. Shawn Levy has been developing his Star Wars movie since around 2022 with Jonathan Tropper. Tropper collaborated with Levy on films such as This Is Where I Leave You and The Adam Project. The script has reportedly been coming together now for over a year. Levy is also producing the feature via his 21 Laps production company, along with Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm of course. It's possible this movie was just farther along than the potential Rey movie, or the Jedi Origins film that James Mangold has in the works. As for where and when this Star Wars feature takes place, that's the biggest mystery. Does it take place in the era of the Republic, the Rebellion, or the Resistance? Of course, it could be hundreds, or even thousands, of years before or after the era of the Skywalker saga. All we know is that Levy's film won't directly connect to the saga of Anakin, Luke, or Rey Skywalker. Hopefully, if Levy's film actually does go into production, his film will propel us into a future for Star Wars way beyond anything we've seen before now. Ryan Gosling might bring his force to Star Wars movie. If you're a Jedi, then Ryan Gosling is a Jedi, well, maybe. The Barbie star is reportedly in talks to star in a new Star Wars movie written and directed by Deadpool and Wolverine filmmaker Shawn Levy, according to multiple outlets. While other details surrounding the force-filled movie are currently floating in space, Ryan boarding the ship would likely send the project, which Levy has been slowly developing since 2022, including bringing on his This Is Where I Leave You screenwriter Jonathan Tropper, into hyperdrive, according to The Hollywood Reporter. The new addition to the Star Wars franchise, which has seen Disney Plus TV shows The Mandalorian, The Acolyte and Star Wars, Skeleton Crew added to its repertoire in recent years, would be a standalone movie, akin to 2018's Solo, a Star Wars story, per the outlet. News has reached out to reps for Gosling, Levy and Lucasfilm, but has not heard back. While it's unclear if the La La Land actor will indeed join the dark side, Gosling, who shares daughters Esmeralda Amada, 10, and Amada Lee, 8, with Eva Mendes, has been open about the types of roles he wants to play going forward. Star Wars shocker, Ryan Gosling in talks to star in Shawn Levy's movie. Ryan Gosling is headed to the great galaxy far, far away. The three-time Oscar nominee is in negotiations to top-line the Star Wars feature project that will be directed by Deadpool and Wolverine filmmaker Shawn Levy. Details on any Star Wars project are harder to acquire than plans for an orbital planet killer, and this one is no exception. Levy has been developing his Star Wars feature since 2022 and Jonathan Tropper, who collaborated with Levy on films such as This Is Where I Leave You and The Adam Project, has been working on a script for over a year. Levy is also producing the feature via his 21 Laps banner, joining Star Wars stewards Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm. It is unclear when Levy's project is set. Star Wars stories have run the gamut of hundreds of years, detailing the goings-on of a galactic republic turned dictatorship turned rebellion. It's also unclear if it concerns Jedis and their enemies, the Sith. It is, however, to be unconnected to the so-called Skywalker saga, the stories centered on well-established and beloved characters